If you've been working on the stuff for the turns in the last few videos, one thought you may be getting to mind is that your ankles are starting to hurt. And it's not uncommon, especially for people who haven't done this sort of work before. Dancing is a particular kind of exercise which tends to affect your ankles more than some other things. And so if you're not used to it, you can start feeling it in the ankles for a couple of reasons. One is they might just be a little bit weak, and so they need a little bit of strengthening. But another could be that the muscles are tight, and so they need to be loosened up a little bit. And so I'm just going to show you a few things you can do, first off, to strengthen the ankles, and also to loosen up the legs and ankles and things like that a little bit, so you'll have a little less of an issue with this sort of stuff. If you want to keep up with some of this stuff, it's actually not a bad little warm-up before you do a serious dance session or before a class or anything like that. So it's good to know. I'll start off with strengthening. As I say, we're specifically interested in the ankles because that's where we're going to be feeling this stuff. And the standard bit of advice that you'll hear from a lot of people is basically to get up on your toes. And you can stand there and walk around a little bit. And if you try that, you can find it is a pretty fair exercise. You can feel it kind of tight right there. I personally have a couple of issues with that. One goes back to my childhood. When I was a kid, my brother had a habit of running around on his tippy toes in the house, and he managed to trip on the edge of a carpet one day and have a nasty accident. And so it can be dangerous if you're not careful. The other thing is that this sort of aesthetic, if you think of being in ballet up on point, we don't do that in tango. We are normally on the ground with our weight forward, but our heels are not too far off the ground. It's just like that. Okay, so it's high enough that it's not grabbing on the ground, but it's not way up in the air. And so I find a more effective exercise for that is doing it in a way that keeps the heel down when we're getting our exercise. And what you can do to do that is to have something under the front of your foot. And one thing I've been using, I'll sometimes use an exercise mat, which is about the same size, but this is just a piece of scrap wood. Happens to be a 2x2. Just set it on the ground. And I'll put the balls of the feet on that piece of wood and just start raising my heels. And that gives you the exercise without putting your heels way up in the air. It stays more towards where they're actually going to be while you're dancing. And you can see I have a chair here if you need it for stability while you're doing this sort of stuff. It doesn't hurt just to use it to keep you stable. Okay? But I find that's not a bad exercise. That's what I did when I started having trouble with mine. Another one that's fairly commonly mentioned with a lot of people in the dance world is basically just to rotate it. About as far out as you can get it, and just around in a big circle, and change directions. And you'll find that can do a lot. It's not necessarily a horrendously strong exercise, but you are going to feel it as you go, and it does help. Also tends to loosen the muscles there a little bit as well, which is a nice combination. Another one is an exercise I saw in a video that an Argentinian fellow has posted. When I'm posting this, I'll have a look and see if I can find the link to it, and I'll include it in the description. He has a series of exercises which are geared more towards being able to dance quicker steps and things like that. But this particular one I found is actually not a bad little workout, and it's related to the stuff that we did before with these heel raises. What he does is he will get onto the heel and then back on the toe. And just back and forth like that, stepping back and forth, heel, toe, heel, toe. And if you start doing that for a while, you're going to start feeling it all around here. So it's not a bad little exercise there. Okay, so that's some things you can do to strengthen your ankles. In terms of loosening up, a lot of the problem is in all of the leg, basically, especially in the calf here. And you can see that happening. I'm going to make use of this chair here. If I was sliding that foot back, this foot here, you'll find there's a point where if I'm keeping straight here, straight down along the leg, you might notice that my heel is off the ground. And that's because the muscle is tight enough that it's keeping the heel from dropping. Now, what I can do, I'm not going to be stretching it the way you think. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be pushing into the ground with my toe. I'm not going that way, and I'm not going that way. I'm going to be pushing that way with that foot. Okay? And so back here, I'm going to push my toe into the ground, nice and strong. And then when I release it, you find the heel just sinks right down, and you've loosened that muscle. So you can do that a couple of times. And just let it drop. And if you want to just stand up after doing one leg, if you feel your legs, you'll find there is a difference between the two. And so you'll want to do the other one as well. Just keep it balanced. Set that out until the heel's off the ground. And then push the toe into the ground. And then release it and let the heel drop. And that is a real good one for loosening off the calf. It's specifically for that. And as I say, it's not a standard stretch. It's related to something called somatics, which is a different approach to doing things, and it works very well. Other than that, we can do some leg swings. Just swing it forward and back. Be careful not to buckle down like that. Stay up right here and just swing this and let it go. Okay, that's a good one for loosening up. Another one is one you'll sometimes see dancers doing before they get on stage and things like this. They'll have a series of 3 of them. It's just a fairly compact little thing. First off, they'll be kicking a foot up, across behind. Okay, so we'll do that alternately. And then we'll do it in the front, like that. Okay, I happen to be slapping the soles against my hand. If you can't do that, that's not a problem. Just do what you can. And then we'll be bringing the foot up the same side, like that. Kind of a cow kick. All right. And then you can sort of shake your legs out a little bit. And after that, you'll find your legs are a lot looser, so they have an easier time moving. And over time, with the exercises, your ankles will be stronger, and so you'll have a lot less trouble doing anything like this.